Morning guys, welcome to day 2 of English for this week. I really hope you had fun building, making Play-Doh snails and Lego cars and everything like that yesterday, and designing bridges as well. Some of the bridges that have been sent through have been awesome, but I was so impressed with the cars today. Just from one picture, how good those cars actually were. That they were brilliant, so well done yesterday for that. And the snails too. I even had a snail on a bridge, which was brilliant. So today we're going to delve deeper into what actually makes a set of instructions. So we're going to have 2 parts to today's lesson. The first part is looking at the features of an instructions text. So the features are the things that need to be included to make it a set of instructions. And think of it as a toolkit. Okay, what would you have to put on a toolkit when you're writing a set of instructions? So you're going to need your biscuit instructions for that. Okay. The second part uses the imperative verb sheet, which is also in your pack, and we'll talk a bit more about imperative verbs in a minute. Very little writing today. You'll be happy to know. So let's get on with doing the features of an instructions text. So what I'm going to get you to do is just spend a minute now. Pause the video when I say so. Have a look at the how to build a biscuit bridge instructions. What do you notice about them? What have I included in the instructions that you can see? Okay, so just pause the video now and have a look or a talk with a grown-up. Go. Okay, you may or may not have found anything. You may have cheated and not actually paused the video at all and just carried on. It's completely up to you. So I'm going to go through the list. I've got it hidden behind here. And then we're going to actually get the instructions out and we're going to have a look at them and see if we can find them in the instructions itself. So, first of all, you need a title. Okay, I need to know what I'm making. If there is no title, it might be a bit tricky. People only look at titles sometimes for instructions, and if it's the wrong title, if there isn't an instruction, they just move on. So it needs to have a title. It also needs to have an introduction. So this, you might notice this on the biscuit bridge instructions. It will be one sentence near the top or at the top of the page, near the title, which just tells you what you're building. Okay, or what you're making if you're baking something. What you don't want to do is want to make a chocolate brownie and just start straight on with the instructions and realise halfway through that you're making a shepherd's pie. Okay, that wouldn't make a very nice brownie. So you need an introduction. 1 or 2 sentences is fine. Okay, you need a list of equipment or ingredients that you're going to do for the instructions. So if you are making a bit of furniture, you're going to need a list of all the things that are included in the pack so that you know what you've got. If you're making a Lego model, you need to have a list of the pieces that you're going to need for each one. If you're making a chocolate brownie, you're going to need to know what ingredients you need. So you need this list. And it's not just about ingredients, it's about equipment as well. It really should include pictures. I absolutely cannot stand, and I just can't do them, I skip over recipes. When I'm cooking, I skip over a recipe if it hasn't got a picture because I like to know what it looks like at the end. Which is silly, I know, but it needs to have, or it doesn't always, but it can have either bullet pointed instructions or numbered instructions. So bullet points are like the dots that I've got down the side of the page here. Numbers are when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to focus on just having numbered instructions today and this week. You need to have time connectives, and you might have spotted some of those time connectives in the biscuit bridge instructions. And then lastly, we have imperative verbs. Now, we're not going to do anything with the imperative verbs until I've taught you about them first. Okay, so hopefully you'll have the instructions sheet in front of you. And if you don't, get it out now. And you're probably going to need either a pencil, or you might want some coloured pencils or some pens as well. And I'll tell you why. So go get them now and we'll carry on. Okay, so you've got the instructions. You've got the pencil or your pens. Let's have a look. So I couldn't fit it all onto one page so it was easy to read. So I've chopped the biscuit bridge instructions up into 2 parts. This is the first part and then I've got the second part coming up in a minute. So if we look at this, it says how to build a biscuit bridge. Not all bridges need to be boring. Why not add some fun to your car track at home with a biscuit bridge? What you need: a pack of biscuits, any will do. My favourite is a dark chocolate digestive, and that is true. A mixing bowl, some icing sugar, a measuring spoon, water, knife or spoon, and a flat surface to build your bridge on. Okay, so in that section of the instructions is a title, the introduction, the equipment list, and a picture. And what I want you to do now is just to put your finger on where you think the title is on the instructions. Everybody found it? Okay, so the title is this bit up the top here, how to build a biscuit bridge. So I'm going to put a circle around it and I'm going to write title. Okay, title. I want you to do the same in a minute. Okay, we'll do all 4 of them first and then you can go away and do it. So where do you think the introduction is? I want you to put your finger on what you think what part you think the introduction is. So do you think it's this bit over here? Do you think it's this bit of writing here? Or do you think it's this bit at the top? Okay, just put your finger on where you think it is. Or tell a grown-up if they're watching it with you. Okay, so the introduction is that bit here. Okay. Introduction. You're going to copy this in a minute. Right, the equipment or the ingredient list, the what you need bit. Can anybody find that with their finger? Everybody done it? Okay, it's here. And not that we've talked about it, but this bit also has its own subtitle here, what you need. So that's a subtitle, whereas that's a title. And this is equipment list. Trying to write a bit neater as well. Equipment list. Okay, so I've done the title, I've done the introduction, I've done the equipment list, I've just got a picture. Now, if you can't find a picture on there, I'd be a little bit worried. Okay, so the last bit is the picture, which is this bit here, and you're going to write picture there. So I want you to copy that now. So put a circle. You can use colours if you want, or you can just use a pencil. A circle for the title, 1 for the introduction, 1 for the equipment list, and 1 for the picture. So pause the video now and copy that. Go. Okay, so the top half of your instructions should look like this. We're going to go on to the second part now, which is here. Now I've changed it ever so that they've got them here. There's only 3 things that we need to put on. There's actually a 4th, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So first of all, numbered instructions. Can you find the numbers on the instructions? Put your finger on that bit. Everybody done it? Okay, so your numbered instructions are here. Okay. Numbered instructions. Okay, so we've done that one. I'm going to cross it off this time. Time connectives. So that is, well, I'm not going to tell you yet. You think, point to where you think you can find a time connective. Where is a time connective? Okay, so we've got time connectives at the start of our sentences. Look, first, next, then, after that, when, finally. Okay, now that's quite tricky to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little line here and then put time connectives so that I know that that's what I mean by time connectives. And I've just realised it's going to go onto the blue of the blue. So that's going to be horrible. Right, so time connectives are done. We'll leave imperative verbs for the moment because we'll come back and do that after we've talked about the imperative verbs. I just want to talk about this little bit at the bottom. Okay, this extra tip box. Now it wasn't mentioned before. Okay, I'm not going to label it because it's already got extra tip written there with its own subtitle. Use different biscuits to experiment with the bridge structure and yumminess when it comes to eating. So this is like a little bit like a fact box for our non-chronological reports. It's something a bit extra. Sometimes it's really clever, sometimes it's a bit funny. Here it's meant to be a bit funny, but if you've ever made something, it might say, well, try making this recipe with, and it might give you something else, for example. Okay, so you might want to make, I've made it before. I've got a recipe which is for like macaroni cheese or something, and it says use a different type of cheese. So sometimes it just gives you that little extra, that's something different, and here's our extra tip. Okay, so we're going to leave imperative verbs for the moment because we're now going to think about what an imperative verb is. So if I click on imperative verb here, so what is an imperative verb? Okay, so first of all, we want to say what is a verb. Okay, so verbs are words that describe an action, an occurrence, that means something that happens, or a state. Okay, for example, the ice cream is melting. So what's the ice cream doing? It is melting. Year 2s, you'll be fully aware of this because of the work you've been doing in phonics to do with the verbs. And the next one says, the snowman wears a hat. Okay, what's the snowman doing? It's wearing a hat. What's the ice cream doing? It's melting. Okay, so just spend 30 seconds now, pause the video. Can you think of any other verbs? Go. Okay, it wasn't meant to be written down. You didn't have to write it down anywhere. It's just a case of talking with a grown-up or thinking in your head. We're just going to move on. So an imperative verb are sometimes known as bossy verbs. They are verbs which tell you what to do. They are often seen at the beginning or near the beginning of a sentence and create a command. So a command is telling you to do something. So it's a type of sentence. We've already talked about questions. Now we're looking at commands. Okay, let's look at some examples. Eat your lunch. Tidy your cloak. Tidy the cloakroom. Write today's date. Walk home after school. Okay, so those verbs, eat, tidy, write, and walk, they're imperative verbs because they're telling you what to do, which is why we call them bossy verbs, because they're being bossy. They're telling you what to do. What do you need to do? Eat your lunch. It's not, can you eat your lunch? It's not a question, or please, may you eat your lunch? It's eat your lunch, tidy the cloakroom, write today's date, walk home after school. Okay, they are short, sharp sentences. Okay, go and buy our crisps. Eat your lunch, tidy the cloakroom, write today's date, walk home from school. In each of these commands, the imperative verb tells the person what action they need to take. So in the first one, there's 2. Go, what you need to do when you go, buy our crisps. Okay, right, let's see if you can spot some in these sentences. Go outside to play. Spot the difference between these pictures. Ask your dad what he thinks. Kick the ball into the goal. Surprise your friend to cheer them up. Okay, just pause the video now. Which is the imperative verb in each sentence? Go. Okay, again, there was no need to write it down. And actually, the words are in purple for you on the screen, so it's nice and simple. Go. Spot. Ask. Kick. Surprise. They normally come at the start of a sentence, or if you're using a time connective, it will be the second or third word of a sentence. Okay? So, imperative verbs can often be found in persuasive adverts, instructions, recipes, and sometimes in conversation. Okay? So we're looking at the middle 2, sets of instructions, and a recipe is a set of instructions anyway. Right, a little bit of writing for you now. Now, you don't have to write it in your book, just get a scrap piece of paper. Okay, so below is a command sentence with the imperative verb missing. How many imperative verbs can you think of that would fit in this command? So up and walk away. Okay, what word could you think of that could fit in there? just have 30 seconds, just have a think, even if you only come up with one. Okay, so is it going to give us an answer? You could have said, get up and walk away, stand up and walk away, tidy up and walk away. Now, I had a really rude one, which was shut up and walk away. Okay, which wasn't particularly nice, but it was the one that popped into my head. So, I want you now, on a scrap piece of paper, just to think of one word that could go in those sentences. So, something your sandwich, something your shoes, something your brother. Okay? Pause the video and have a think, and I will come up and tell you what I came up with when I did this. Go. Okay, so nice and simple. Eat your sandwich or throw away your sandwich. Tidy your shoes or tie your shoes would have been fine. Put away your shoes. Hug your brother. Ask your brother. There could be lots of different ones for any of those. Okay, so an imperative verb is an action when you're giving a command. Okay, so let's get rid of that and let's go back to here. Okay, so if you look at the first instruction, first wash your hands because you are handling food. Next, add 5 tablespoons of icing sugar to the bowl and add water. Then mix together until it forms a paste. After that, open the packets of biscuits and design your bridge. Make sure it's a flat surface. When you've completed your design, spread the icing sugar onto the biscuits and stick the biscuits together. Finally, play with the bridge. When you've finished eating your bridge, eat your bridge to avoid waste or the need to pack it away. So there is at least one imperative verb in all of those sentences. I want you to see if you can find them now, and I will go through the answers in a minute. So pause the video now. Okay, so here's your answers for you, and well done if you got them right. And if you haven't got them, or if you haven't had a go, then you can fill them in afterwards. So wash your hands. Adds in there twice. Mix together. Open the packet of biscuits. Design your bridge. When you have complete, spread the icing sugar and stick the biscuits together. Play with the bridge. Eat your bridge. Okay, so again, I'm going to put a little dash here and I'm going to put imperative verbs. And that is it for the first sheet. So the second sheet then is nice and simple. So you'll either have one of these, okay? If you have the bossy verbs sheet over here, it says underline the bossy verbs, or you can colour in the boxes. Shut, chair, fold, open, night, pillow, first, put, mix and sad. Remember, a verb is a doing word. So can you colour in the boxes that are bossy verbs when something is a word that is telling you to do something? Then you don't have to use the words up here, but can you put a word in to make your own sentence? So something right at the traffic lights, something the juice into the glass, and I'll let you read the other ones. And then the last bit, can you make up your own one completely by yourself? Okay, now if you have the second sheet, this is a set of instructions to make an omelette. Okay, you need to use the 7 words down here for the 7 instructions. So something your pan until it's nice and hot. Mix your pan, heat your pan, add your pan, grill the pan, serve the pan, crack the pan, grate the pan. Okay, put the correct word into the box. Now, it needs a capital letter because it's the start, and I'm going to give you the first one. So heat is the first one, and then cross it out. When you have finished all of them, they're actually in the wrong order, and I want you to put them in the right order down here. So firstly, which of these instructions are you going to do first? secondly, thirdly, after that, then next. Okay, put your instructions from here, copy them into here. They're the right way round. And that is it for today's activity. Tomorrow, this is why it's really important that you've at least had a go at making a suspension bridge, because tomorrow we're going to plan a set of instructions for your bridge or for whatever you've made. Okay, it could be for the Lego model you made, it could be for the snail you made, it could be for the bridge you made today, or you're going to do tomorrow, or today now, or yesterday. It's very confusing. But you at least need to have tried to make something so that you can write up some instructions for it. Okay, see you guys tomorrow.